I am glad and honored to be here this morning. Yep. What time is it?
Still morning.
Still morning. I am not here for, I don't have a job to offer. What was the other thing? Sports that you guys are interested in? Sports, jobs, and what was it? Was it three things? What? Entertainment. You are losing on all three with me. I was a television news anchor in the Boston area for probably 133 years. And you don't know that because you're all too young, but some of your parents or your grandparents might remember me. Hey. And then in 2001, I went on a story to cover a war in Sudan. Has anybody heard about Sudan? The largest country in Africa, a country that has been against itself in a civil war and a jihad, some people call it, because of the cultural clash there. I went there in 2001, and that changed my life. And because I'd never been in a conflict zone. I had never seen people who had been in war. I had never seen people who had suffered from so much war. And we were transformed by the experience, and we decided, a group of us decided, who went that first year, decided to stay and continue back and forth, traveling back and forth to Sudan to help the people there. We found communities that were led mainly by women, because men had been killed in this civil war, women who were trying to rebuild their communities, but also trying to ward off guns and bombs and all kinds of horrible situations. So it was a life-changing experience because it showed me that A, the world was very small, and B, that there are things going on in the world that we need to know about, and they affect us, even though this is Sudan. Sudan is still a country, well, actually now two countries. There is Sudan and South Sudan. The newest country in the world is South Sudan, and this was the result of this civil war. But it's still a region of the world where there's much conflict. People are dying every day. People are fighting. There are tribal conflicts. There are race conflicts. There are conflicts based on oil and resources that are limited, and people who are suffering. So we're working still. We built a girls' school there because girls in Sudan were not educated. And we were trying to help these communities build up. But out of all of that experience of being in Sudan, I came up with this question that I wanted to ask you guys, because in Sudan, it's a community basically where women are kind of in charge of households. Mothers are running their homes without dads because dads have been killed in the war or dads are still fighting or what have you. And so you see a lot of women there. And my question after that is how you guys feel, because I think that that's something that connects to our community. Because in our community, at least here in Roxbury, there are a lot of single-family homes where dads are not there and mothers are running their homes. And so I just wanted to get into a room of men. I thought, well, let me ask these guys what they think about the circumstances of our culture, of our communities, where you see women running things. So I thought we could talk about relationships. That has nothing, it sounds like that has nothing to do with Sudan. But I want to learn as much from you as I can teach you. So is that all right? Can we talk can I ask you guys questions as well? Thank you. Are you speaking for the whole group or just me and you? Because if it's just me and you, I'm going to sit right here. You guys are with me? Are you all with me on this? Because I think it's important for us. And I'm not real good in front of a camera. I worked in front of a camera for 40,000 years, but I move around a lot, and forgive me for that. I wanted to ask you why there's such a disconnect, you think, in your way, in your view, between guys and young ladies. Or am I wrong? Is there a disconnect? Do you know what I'm asking? Does that make any sense? Okay, it seems to me that there's lots of women doing stuff, but I don't see a lot of guys doing stuff. Am I wrong? In the community, in the households, in businesses, in schools. Am I just wrong? Does anybody? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think one of the main things in the minority community is the high incarceration rate among minority males. So that's hundreds of thousands of males who aren't in around in the households to help run things, and that's a major problem.
So incarceration is a real issue in our communities, and so women are left, just like in Sudan, it's a war, and women are left to kind of fend for themselves. Do you think that impacts the relationships that we do have?
Oh, yes.
I do too. And I wondered what you thought we could do to improve that, because you are obviously the leaders of the community, young men. I say that because you're here, you're learning, you're in an environment that you're getting jobs, you're doing things, you're obviously going to change the world. I can see that in your eyes. So can you give me some suggestions on what we can do to improve the connection between men and women? Because I think that's really important. Am I asking too heavy a question? Is this like the, no, okay, what do you think? What are some of the things that we could do to improve the connection? You thought I was gonna come and give you some information, but instead I'm coming to ask you for information. Do you have any ideas?
Well, personally, I think it's because of violence that also impacts the relationships, because men are usually, like in the minority groups, they usually go to, like they usually join their friends in peer pressures, like the, like drugs and stuff like that.
So violence, definitely. I think that's a very insightful answer, because violence is what affects the people in Sudan. So what do you think women want? What do you think women want? A man that sticks around? That's interesting. A man that sticks around, yes, sir?
I think they want peace.
Peace.
In their home and in their community.
That's profound. Peace. A man that sticks around. Anybody else? I think those are exactly what women want. I think women want a man that sticks around, be it war, be it incarceration, whatever the issue, and peace. Peace in their homes. And I think that until we work out these kind of connections between men and women, we're going to have problems. We're going to have problems in Sudan, and we're going to have problems here in America, especially in the black community. Because women sometimes feel, and I don't want to speak for all the women in the world because I don't know, there are a few women here, agree with me or don't agree with me, that we are not being treated with our proper respect from men. Is that just me saying that? Is that just me because I'm old school, or do you think that's, I need to hear from you if you're, yeah, a little nod, a little nod. So it's important for us to figure out a way that we can build these relationships, right? I have a son. My son is 25 years old. He has been living in, he's been out of school now for 2 years. And I want to make sure that my son treats women with what is due them. And I just want to figure out what you guys can say to help me. Now, you know, maybe at 25, if he hasn't got it now, he won't get it. Maybe that's the deal, but I think he has it. But I just want to hear what you think is most important in building relationships. Does everybody have, and I'm not trying to get into your personal thing, but you guys are how old? How old is this group? 17, 15, 16? So you're not quite dating and stuff like that yet, right? That's not, is that, do people date? Do they even date anymore? Is dating a part of life? I'm old school. I'm way old school. No, everybody's laughing at me, so then nobody dates. Sorry. But you have friends who are girls, right? So I'm trying to figure out how we can improve our relationships with each other. One of the things I think is really important, and this is something I noticed in Sudan. In Sudan, because of the culture, women don't make eye contact. Women have always been treated, at least in the south of Sudan, and probably in the north of Sudan too. The south of Sudan is more of a Christian culture, but it's Christian connected with all kinds of tribal thoughts. The North Sudan, or Sudan, the North Sudan is Islamic, is Muslim, and the Sharia law is in effect. And it's old school, it's very old school. So women don't meet, if I see you come into a room and you're a man, first of all, I'll just go like this. There's no eye contact because women are treated not necessarily as equals, right? So immediately you have a problem because the woman is made to feel like she's less a man. Now, I'm not trying to get into an argument, but I just want to know what you guys think about that. Is that wrong? Is that right? Is that the way it should be everywhere? Anybody got any thoughts on that?
It's just cultural.
Cultural. But here I notice, I'm sorry? Could be religious. Yeah, it's just a part of their culture. But how important is it for us to make eye contact, do you think?
Very important.
I think it's really important too.
Wise men said that's the window to your soul.
By making eye contact. But how many of us make eye contact? Yes, sir. No, anything.
I was just saying that I make eye contact when I'm talking to people. It's like when you make eye contact, it like shows that you like actually listen to them and take in.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat it? Because that was really, couldn't hear you. My bad. Just use it.
I was saying.
Whoa, they can hear you now.
I was saying that when I talk to people and people talk to me, I make eye contact because when I do it, it makes like it seems that I like pay attention and make sure that like I take in what people say.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering if everybody does that. I don't think everybody does that. Anybody else got any thoughts on that? Yes, sir.
I believe that when you make eye contact with somebody in a conversation, like when you picked on me, as I make eye contact with you, it means that we will respect one another to the extent that we want to listen and pay more attention to what the other says.
Right.
And shows a certain degree of respect in putting each other on a certain equal playing field.
Absolutely.
For everything.
Eye contact means respect. And when you use it, you are giving, be it a woman or a man, whoever you talk to, but particularly women, you are giving them respect. And I am suggesting that even in this culture, we don't do it enough, especially across gender. I think, girls walk around like this, or guys do it, and I don't know why. Why do you think we don't make eye contact? Anybody got any ideas? Yes, sir?
Sometimes it's the individual who's speaking. Sometimes they feel maybe
They're going to give you that mic just so make sure everybody can hear you.
Sometimes individuals have issues of their own, and so they can't, or not they can't, but they're not willing to give that eye contact. They're dealing with their own personal issues.
Like what kind of issues maybe?
Insecurities, self-esteem.
Self-esteem, insecurity, absolutely. So we can. Anybody else got any ideas on that? Yes, ma'am?
I was taught on my culture
Where are you from?
is in Haiti.
Haiti.
Eye contact has been, when someone's talking to you, if you eye contact is disrespectful.
So that's sort of, okay, explain
And
that.
then, I was taught not to look at it growing up when they're talking to you. You kind of bend your head down. But it takes me a great deal of struggle to keep eye contact with someone talking to me still now, because I was taught not to make eye contact.
So that
it's
culture-
a show lack of respect
Right.
by giving eye contact.
Interesting. And that probably has a lot to do with the people in Sudan, that it's a matter of respect, not to make eye contact. Yes, sir.
I believe respect is the key word, but what's really important, our world is so different. We need to elevate our cultural competency, because the perfect example is eye contact. In America, that's the norm, and that's what we expect. But whether it's in Haiti or Japan or in the Islamic world, there's a difference. And if we aren't properly educated to understand what our differences are, it can cause huge conflict, because a minor thing could become a major thing.
Absolutely. The only reason I bring it up as an issue of respect that would be better in other places, and I'm not trying to tell other cultures how to live, and you're absolutely right, is because the women in Sudan are raped in massive proportion. They are demeaned in massive proportion. Now, that's also a part of the culture, it seems, and that's wrong. It's wrong in Africa, and it's wrong in America. So, and they don't want to be raped, do you know what I mean? So I'm adding that eye contact to that, but you're absolutely right. I cannot go into Sudan and say, look them in the eyes. I assure you I didn't do that. I put my eyes down too. But it's just thinking about all of that and how that impacts that woman who wants respect. I guarantee you the women that we dealt with in Sudan wanted respect. Now, we'll have to ask this young lady about her culture and how it affected her. And it may not be. Your point is well taken.
Oh, you just touched upon the point that I was going to raise, which is eye contact has a lot to do with trust and vulnerability. And so I worked with some young ladies in the Maryland and DC area, and they wouldn't make eye contact in their urban communities because it opened them up to sexual predators.
Wow, wow.
So without that
So
trust-
making eye contact was a bad thing because they didn't trust.
Yep.
Wow. So how would we try to break through that? That seems like a lot more work than a 20-minute, a lecture or anything like I'm trying to do here. What do you think? It's a lot of work.
I mean, you have to build community relationships.
You have to build
Because
relationships.
if young ladies don't feel safe walking down the street, making eye contact with men because they feel like then it opens them up to unwanted attention.
Right.
How do you build that trust?
That's an incredible point. You were going to say something, or?
Well, I was going to say maybe it has to do with social class.
Social class?
Well, like as in society, maybe it's their way of showing that women aren't as equal to men, so the sign of them putting their eyes down might be just showing that they're not worthy or something.
Right, that's true. But in this case, in Maryland, she's saying that young women do it safety. Don't show eye contact because it could make you vulnerable to that man if you don't trust that. I don't want to put words in your mouth. If you don't trust that man and you look at him as a predator or a potential predator who would take advantage of you, then you keep your eyes down. But you see how just like you're saying, all of these different things connect to how we react and relate to each other. And it's really important because it impacts us. What I'm trying to get to is how we can show mutual respect, women and men, young women and young men, without hurting, potentially hurting somebody or putting somebody in a vulnerable position. And it's a little bit more complicated, as we've just discovered, at least I've discovered, because of cultural differences, because of situations in a particular community where people are afraid. It's a little more complex than just look at everybody in the eye. Yes, ma'am.
I believe that, and I completely agree with Bob, to close the gaps, I think that one is, needs to be open-minded and educated in terms of the differences in cultures. I did study Latin American and as one of my masters, and that was something that came out very often, in which for us in Latin America, females are also treated in a different level than men are. And one of the ways that we closed the gap was educating males to understand that, what are our opportunities and equalities and how we want to be treated with that level of respect that you're talking about, and it placed us at a different level in terms of not being so vulnerable. And little by little, we are finally understanding those type of demeanors, for example, like the eye contact and stuff. So, in other words, it's just educating ourselves in terms of the cultural differences and gender differences.
Absolutely.
And I think that will close the gaps a little bit more.
And it'll take time.
Right.
And work and respect for the culture. So I think everybody's making good points here. How does the media impact all of this? How does what you see on TV, the music we listen to, I know, who said oof? The songs, the rap singers, the hip hop singers, how does all that impact how we perceive each other, women and men? Because I don't get it. Now again, the last time I listened to music, it was 1960-something. And it was like Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. You all are too young to know what I'm talking about. But they used to sing about love. I don't know what we're singing about now. But how does that impact? Do you know what I'm talking about? This music that can be kind of violent to me. Is that the music we're listening to now, or is it just me? Anybody? Anybody?
Because sometimes it just gives an impression, like a lot of the rap music, saying that the women are like gold diggers and stuff, and they're not more they have of that, and people listen to, young people listen to that, and they get influenced.
Right.
So hopefully, the rap singer are saying that, well, we're parents now and we want to sing something a little more positive, but there should be more of that
Than what we hear sometimes.
what we hear.
And I think it impacts what women act, how young women act. How do you perceive how young women act? And I'm not trying to point fingers or anything, but how do you guys look at the girls that kind of, well, the girls in those videos, for instance, who are half naked. We had a funeral, I'm a preacher now at the church, and we had a funeral for a young man who unfortunately lived a street life. And the women who came into the church just freaked me out. It's just, I was supposed to be preaching. I was like, oh my God, you don't have clothes on. I mean, how does that whole thing impact your respect level or your view of young women?
Well, I was just going to say the women or the young ladies that see what's portrayed, in the entertainment world, they see that and they say, okay, this is what guys really want. So they try to imitate, the females that they see maybe on the videos or on TV and the movies, and so that's where that cycle starts to build up.
Is that what guys really want?
Really depends on the guys, but for the most part, no. Most guys don't really want that. It's entertainment. It's a fantasy. It's kind of this world that you live in, but it's not something you really want.
Really? Does everybody agree? You're not going to tell me if you don't. I know. Why would I ask a question like that? But no, but seriously, that makes sense. That sounds so mature to me. So you know the difference, obviously, between entertainment and what you want your wife to be or your girlfriend to be or your sister, right, or your mother, right? Everybody knows the difference there. Anybody got any thoughts on that? So how can we work past that? Okay, here's a question. Is that something you see on the streets, or again, was that just a funeral I had at my church? Because this could just be me. I get up in the morning and think, this could just be me. Anybody? Or is that how some young women act? Or not enough? Or not that many? Some. But is it a big amount or enough that it's like, oh my God, all these girls look at you?
It's like, when girls see other girls on TV and stuff, and in music videos and stuff, they see, I'm thinking that, when they see, girls on videos and stuff, they see, what they like to wear and stuff, so maybe they want to be like, oh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
So then they want to copy them, and they see, if they can attract the men, because that's what they see on TV.
Okay. Do you think that there are lots of girls like that, or just a few where you go to school?
Well, the girls at my school, yeah, they're like that.
They're like that.
Yeah.
And
Most of the boys in my school, they don't even like it. The girls, they try a lot, but a lot of men aren't interested in girls like that.
okay, and a lot of girls at your school are like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna remember this. Yes, sir.
See, even at the school where I go, there are quite a number of girls like that, and the only thing, well, I can't speak for all the young guys in my school, but me and my friends just those girls, they seem really fake. They're not going out and trying to be themselves. They're going out and trying to be like someone else.
Yeah.
And that's not appealing at all.
Right. Right. That's interesting. This is good. Anybody else? Any thoughts on that? Yes, sir? Oh, he's going to bring in Mike. It's kind of like the Oprah show. But Oprah didn't have this handsome young assistant to help her. Thank you.
As a father of two daughters, try to preach to them the importance of the image you project out to society. First of all, it has to come from within girls, boys as well. The girls have to respect themselves, and then they can command respect in return. Do we want our daughters to be like Lindsay Lohan or like Liz Walker?
Yes, ma'am?
I think that right now, is what it has to take place. Having these young fellows or taking time to educate themselves about our differences and what culture, pop culture brings to us, and what to take in and what to leave out, it's what it's going to make us the well-rounded individual. So, I mean, having you here, having them, you know, be up at 9:30 or 8 a.m. and taking this opportunity to do this is what's going to, at the end, help us all to fill in those gaps.
Absolutely. And I just want you to know that I'm really impressed. And I know that you're a select group of young men, that you're not like just the guys who came to that funeral in my church, which obviously was really a big deal for me. You're not like those guys. You are the hope that we have in the community. But I'm very impressed with your thoughtfulness, the young men who are talking here today. And I'm going to take this conversation to some young women that I know who do dress like that, to let them know that it's not as necessarily as hip as they think. Yes, sir.
Well, I just think that this is an opportunity for all of us, whether you go to church or don't go to church, but that's one of the purposes of the community churches, to help educate people in the community about how we relate and interact between male and female, old people, young people, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that was a little commercial for the church. Come to church, please. Yes.
I think that was a great example. You know, the females are kind of emulating what they see in this entertainment world, and we just hear some of the young men say that, you know, we don't really like that. That's a good example of where the disconnect begins. And the same can go with if the guys are imitating what they see in the entertainment world, and some of the young females are saying, well, we don't want a guy like this. And then that level of equality, you start to look at each other a lot differently. So I think that's a good example of where it begins.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's a great, there's a gentleman back there.
I just wanted to say that I remember I was watching Hip Hop Wives or something like that. And it's just like you find out that a lot of these rap artists who have like girls next to the video, a lot of them marry normal women, the women who aren't anywhere near. A lot of them marry, you know, teachers, even football players. A lot of them go out and they marry lawyers, doctors, women. So it's just like you'll see them in the video with like the nice girls, but then they go home to their normal girls.
Right. Well, wait, but those on Hip Hop Wives are the normal ones?
Yeah, like I think Ice-T's wife, she was like the exception, but I know Snoop Dogg's wife, just like Game's wife. It's just like they all are teachers, nurses.
I didn't know
they
that.
All had, educational backgrounds. Exhibit she has a master's degree, and so it's just like I'm sitting there and I was just like blown away. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Y'all hypocrites.
But, and so they marry different women from the ones that they show on the videos.
So you'll see them in the video.
Yeah.
But that also can cause a problem as well, because now you have someone who's highly educated, who's very confident, who has a lot of self-esteem, and you may not be there on the same level intellectually or emotionally as your spouse or as your significant other. And so there's a struggle there as well. So again, we're appealing to these young men to up their game so that they can be on the same playing field with these women.
Absolutely, absolutely. So your game in academics, your game in your social game, your personal game, and it looks like it's working. Yes, sir.
I guess my thought is, it's funny how you talk about a show that would portray, let's say, the wife that's maybe that lawyer or that professional, but how the media, they'll allow for the young folks to see the videos that say, oh, well, this is what their wife is in the video or in the movies. So it just raises a question. Think about the game that's being presented to us. You'll see the backside of it saying, well, okay, this is what it really is. We actually have that station wagon or whatever it is, and we live this regular life, but what we want to show you is what's supposed to be fashionable. So it's a question for you guys to think about what you see, is it really real? Right,
right. And what they're trying to do on TV, believe me, what they're trying to do on TV, ultimately, any TV you watch is sell you some product. That's all TV is about. They don't want to entertain you. They're not trying to inform you. You know how you watch Fox News? You watch Fox News. If you watch it long enough and you turn it off, you end up wanting to slap somebody. You ever notice that? Because Fox News just makes you mad. You just get mad at somebody because Fox News is about the business of scaring you, dividing you, and making you angry. That's what Fox News is about. That's all they're about. And I'll say that anyway. I'm on a campaign against Fox News. And it's all about a business. They're trying to make money. They make money off of fear. They make money off of that. Well, the same thing in the entertainment industry. They're trying to make money. It's there for money. They're not there to help you. They're there to make money off of you. So the images they sell and, you know, the sex and the rock and roll and all of that is just that. But because you are thinking, young men, because you think and you care, you come here on a Saturday morning to discuss these kind of issues, you're not going to buy it. What you have to do also is be leaders in your community so that you can impact other people, so that you can impact those who might not come. But they might see you doing something and say, oh gosh, he's pretty sharp. And maybe they'll never admit it, but they want to be like you. Because pretty much everybody's trying to get through this in the same way, I think. And we all want respect. We want to be significant. We want people to notice us. Pretty much that's what, don't you think? We all kind of want that. We want to earn a good living. We want to take care of our family. We all have dreams, but we all kind of get caught up in the game. And we're not running the game. The media runs the game on us, and we get caught up in that. And that's where the confusion is. So I'm not at all concerned about you. I think you're amazing. I'm just really impressed, and I thank you for letting me come here. But I have learned that all across the world, it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter about the differences in all these cultures. And people are very different. People who are Islamic or who are Muslim are different from people who are Christian and all of that. But there are some common bonds that we all have. And those are the things that I try to lift up. Because once we can see what we have in common, then we do begin to respect each other and see each other differently. And that's the same thing across gender roles. Girls and boys essentially want the same things, but we get lost in somebody else's game. And that's what I think the message is this morning for me to you. That's what I found out. Just one other quick story. One of the last times we went to Sudan, we went to help this community. We were in an isolated village where there's no hotels, there's no McDonald's. You have to take everything in with you when you go visit these places to help support these people. So we go into this village. Akan was the village that we used to travel back and forth to. I haven't been there in a year. And we lost all our luggage, my friend and I. We lost our luggage it's either Chicago or Nairobi, I'm not sure. But by the time we got off the plane in Nairobi, we had no luggage. And the decision had to be made whether we would go on into the bush to the village or not. Because we had nothing. We didn't have our tents. We didn't have our food. We didn't have the stuff, because you have to take everything in with you if you're going to be there, because these people are very, very, very poor. Anyway, we decided to go into the village anyway because we had come so far. Word got to the village that we had lost everything. And it was one of the most amazing moments of my life. The people in the village who had nothing, who we'd gone to help, came to the plane, and the plane landed, and they brought us food that they had prepared for us. They brought us wraps so that we could clothe ourselves, because they heard we lost all our clothes. They brought us hand-hewn, hand-built cots, two or three of them for us, that they had made. And it dawned on me that you never know when you might be on the end of need. Do you know what I mean? And there's a sense of reciprocity in the world, whereas one day you might treat a girl with respect. You never know when that situation might come, and she gives you that. Treat each other matters. This is the end of the sermon. How we treat each other matters. It matters, because you never know when you might be on the needing end of that. And that goes across cultures, that goes across the world, and that certainly goes across men and women. So just keep that in the back